सच्चिदानन्दं वासुदेवं व्रजप्रियं धर्मसंस्थापकं वीरं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं।
मैं नहीं मेरा नहीं यह तन किसी का है दिया।
मैं नहीं मेरा नहीं यह तन किसी का है दिया।
अपने पास है वह धन किसी का है दिया।
जो अपने पास है वह धन किसी का है दिया।
मैं नहीं मेरा नहीं यह तन किसी का है दिया।
मैं नहीं मेरा नहीं यह तन किसी का है दिया।
देने वाले ने दिया वह भी दिया किस शान से।
देने वाले ने दिया वह भी दिया किस शान से।
देने वाले ने दिया वह भी दिया किस शान से।
देने वाले ने दिया वह भी दिया किस शान से।
मेरा है यह लेने वाला कह उठा अभिमान से।
मेरा है यह देने वाला कह उठा अभिमान से।
मेरा यह कहने वाला मन किसी का है दिया।
मेरा यह कहने वाला मन किसी का है दिया।
मैं नहीं मेरा नहीं यह तन किसी का है दिया।
मैं नहीं मेरा नहीं यह तन किसी का है दिया।
धन किसी का है दिया।
धन किसी का है दिया।
श्री गुरु चरण सरोज रज निज मनु मुकुरु सुधारी। बरनउ रघुबर विमल जसु जो दायक फलचारी। बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके सुमिरौ पवन कुमार। बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहि हरहु कलेस विकार। जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर जय कपीसतिहु लोक उजागर। रामदूत अतुलित बल धामा अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा। महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी कुमति निवार सुमति के संगी। कंचन बरन विराज सुबेसा कानन कुंडल कुंचित केसा। हाथ वज्र और ध्वजा विराजे कांधे मूज जनेऊ साजे। शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन तेज प्रताप महाजगवंदन। विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर राम काज करिबे को आतुर प्रभु चरित्र सुनिबे को रसिया राम लखन सीता मन बसिया सूक्ष्म रूप धरि सियहि दिखावा विकट रूप धरि लंक जरावा भीम रूप धरि असुर संहारे रामचंद्र के काज संवारे लाय सजीवन लखन जियाए श्री रघुबीर हरषि उर लाए रघुपति कीन्ही बहुत बड़ाई तुम मम प्रिय भरतई सम भाई सहस बदन तुम रोजस गावे अस कहि श्रीपति कंठ लगावे सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनि नारद सारद सहित अहिसा जम कुबेर दिक्पाल जहाँ ते कवि कोविद कहि सकै कहाँ ते तुम उपकार सुग्रीव ही कीन्हा राम मिलाय राजपद दीन्हा तुम्हरो मंत्र विभीषण माना लंकेश्वर है सब जग जाना जुग सहस्र जो जन पर भानु लील्योताहि मधुर फल जानु प्रभु मुद्रिका मेलि मुख माही जलधि लांघि गए अचरज नाही दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते सुगम अनुग्रह तुम्हारे तेते राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे होत न आज्ञा बिनु पैसारे सब सुख लहै तुम्हारी सरना तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना आपन तेज संभारो आपे तीनों लोक हांकते कांपे भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे महावीर जब नाम सुनावे नासै रोग हरे सब पीरा जपत निरंतर हनुमत वीरा संकट ते हनुमान छुड़ावे मन क्रम वचन ध्यान जो लावे सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा तिनके काज सकल तुम साजा और मनोरथ जो कोई लावे सोई अमित जीवन फल पावे चारों जुग पर ताप तुम्हारा है पर सिद्ध जगत उजियारा साधु संत के तुम रखवारे असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे अष्ट सिद्धि नौ निधि के दाता असवर दीन जानकी माता राम रसायन तुम्हारे पासा सदा रहो रघुपति के दासा तुम्हारे भजन राम को पावे जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावे अंत काल रघुबर पुर जाई जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाई और देवता चित्तन धरई हनुमत से सर्व सुख करई संकट कटे मिटे सब पीरा जो सुमिरे हनुमत बलबीरा जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई कृपा करहु गुरुदेव की नाई जो सत बार पाठ कर कोई छूट ही बंदी महासुख होई जो यह पढ़े हनुमान चालीसा होय सिद्धि साखी गौरी सा तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेरा की जय नाथ हृदय महडेरा पवन तनय संकट हरन मंगल मूर्ति रूप राम लखन सीता सहित हृदय बसहु सुर भूप सियावर रामचंद्र की जय पवन सुत हनुमान की जय उमापति महादेव की जय।
कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम् ईश्वर भक्ति भाव से बहती संस्कारों की धारा भारत माँ की सेवा में गीता परिवार हमारा गीता परिवार हमारा। ईश्वर ईश्वर भक्ति भाव से बहती संस्कारों की धारा, भारत माँ की सेवा में गीता परिवार हमारा, गीता परिवार हमारा। संस्कृति का वैभव जग में सबसे न्यारा,
जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ, जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ।
भारतीय संस्कृति का वैभव जग में सबसे न्यारा, ज्ञान और विज्ञान यहीं से सबने पाया सारा, सबने पाया सारा। कुछ भूलों से हारा फिर से जीते देश हमारा, गीता परिवार हमारा, गीता परिवार हमारा।
जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ, जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ।
शील सेवा व्रतधारी युवा जगे पुरुषार्थी,
जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ, जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ।
त्यागशील सेवा व्रतधारी युवा जगे पुरुषार्थी, वैज्ञानिकता विनय सभ्यता स्वभाव हो निस्वार्थी, स्वभाव हो निस्वार्थी। देशभक्ति में तेजस्वी हो फिर समाज यह सारा, गीता परिवार हमारा, गीता परिवार हमारा।
जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ, जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ।
बुद्ध गगन के तारे,
जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ, जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ।
महावीर गोविंद शिवाजी बुद्ध गगन के तारे, परंपरा की पुण्य चेतना उर में हम सब धारे, उर में हम सब धारे। बाल हृदय में उसे जगाकर जगे देश यह सारा, गीता परिवार हमारा, गीता परिवार हमारा।
जय भारत माँ, जय गीता।
Jai Shri Krishna. What was Lord Krishna's answer when Arjuna asked him to tell him the truth of Sannyasa and Tyaga? On behalf of Geeta Pariwar, I welcome you all to discover the answer given by Lord Krishna in chapter 18 of the Bhagavad Gita, titled Moksha Sannyasa Yoga, or the yoga of liberation through the path of knowledge and self-surrender. Sung by the Lord in the Upanishad, the science of Brahma, and the scripture of yoga. Seeking blessings of Lord Krishna and blessings of Param Puja Swamiji Sri Govind Dev Giriji Maharaj, I invite Chandani ji to lead us in prayer. Chandani MSc Biotechnology is a homemaker from Hyderabad. She enjoys sketching and reading books. She joined Geeta Pariwar in September 2024 and serves as Seva as TA and GC for L1 in Jan 2025 and giving Seva as group coordinator. Welcome Gokula ji. Welcome Chandni ji.
Jai Shri Krishna Didi. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. Vasudeva Sutan Devam Kamsajanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Shri Krishna Vande Jagadgurum.
Thank you, Chandni ji, for the beautiful prayer.
Thank you, Bini.
The Bhagavad Gītā says that sages and wise people understand sannyasa as giving up all actions motivated by desire, and tyaga as relinquishing the fruit of all actions. We ask the Almighty for the light of enlightenment to practice these principles as we light the lamp. I invite Hina Ramdasani ji to light the lamp for us.
निषिद्धैरप्येभिर्लुलितमकरन्दो मधुकरैः करैरिन्दोरन्तश्छुरित इव सम्भिन्नमुकुलः विधत्तां सिद्धिन्नो नयनसुभगामस्य सदसः प्रकीर्णः पुष्पाणां हरिचरणयोरञ्जलिरयम् शरदिन्दुनिभां शुभ्रवस्त्रैरलङ्कृतां कलहंसकृतावासां वरदां शारदां नुमः.
Thank you, Hina ji, for lighting the lamp for us. An announcement. Vivechan Satra link has been shared with you. We request you to share it with all your near and dear ones so that they can also benefit from these sessions. The moment we have been waiting for has arrived. Let me introduce our speaker. He is senior trainer Vikas Vaidya. Vikas Vaidya, a Bachelor of Mechanical Engineering, is based in Pune. He owns a small IT company. He is proficient in 6 languages. Over the last 5 years, he has been reciting the whole Bhagavad Gita daily. He serves as trainer and selects and trains trainers. He also teaches and conducts Vivechan sessions as a member of Pune Geeta Pariwar. He guides Geeta Vratis for the Shrungeri Peeth Geeta exam and has himself given Geeta Kantastha exam in Shrungeri Peeth, for which he was awarded the first prize at the hands of Param Puja Jagat Guru Shankaracharya. A warm welcome, Vikas.
जय श्री कृष्ण. वसुदेव सुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं. पूज्य स्वामी जी के चरण कमलों में कोटि कोटि नमन. A warm welcome to all Gita sadhaks. Today we'll start a new chapter. In fact, it is the last chapter of Bhagavad Gita. That is Moksha Sannyasa Yoga, 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. There are total 78 slokas in this adhyay. All are in Trishtup Chanda. Speakers of slokas will be Lord Shri Krishna, of course, then Arjuna, and then few slokas by Sanjay. As we normally do when we start a new adhyay, we take a brief summary as to what exactly we are going to learn in this adhyay. So a brief summary of what is contained in this adhyay. As I said, this is the final chapter of Bhagavad Gita, and it is the longest, 78 slokas, and it covers many subjects. Arjuna initiates the topic of renunciation with a question about two very commonly used Sanskrit words, sannyas and tyaga. We'll understand that sannyas means the renunciation, giving up of actions, karma, and tyaga means renunciation or giving up of desires. So both words come from the root word meaning to abandon, to give up, to relinquish. Tyaga also means to give up something, and sannyas also means to give up something. So we'll understand what is the exact difference between sannyas and tyaga. It is the first question Arjuna will pose in the first sloka itself. So a sannyasi, that is a monk, is one who does not participate in family life. He is a sannyasi. He does not participate in the family life, and he withdraws from the society to practice sadhana, to practice spiritual discipline. While a tyagi is one who engages in the activities. He engages in the activities, but he gives up the selfish desire for enjoying the rewards of action. He gives up the karma phala. The desire for karma phala he gives up. That is a tyagi. Shri Krishna Bhagavan recommends the second type of renunciation. That means the tyagi. He advises the sacrifice, charity, penance, yajna dana tapa, and other sattvic karma, other duties should never be abandoned, should never be given up. Because they purify even the wise. Even the wise people perform this yajna dana tapa to get purified. So what to talk about us? It will definitely purify us. Rather, they should be performed as a matter of duty, not under compulsion, but as a matter of duty, that this I must do. I should do yajna, I should do dana, I should do tapa. As a matter of duty, we should do it. The duty simply ought to be done, but without any attachment to the fruits of these karmas. I am doing this yajna because I expect something. No, that is not the right way. Then Shri Krishna Bhagavan goes to in the detailed analysis of the three factors that motivate the karma. Which are the karma motivating factors? And the three components of action, three components of karma. Then there are 5 factors, Shri Krishna Bhagavan will explain, that contribute to the result of the karma, karma phala. Then he will describe each of these in terms of 3 gunas of prakriti, sattva, rajotamo, sattva, rajotamo. Then Shri Krishna will establish that those with deficient, less understanding, they see themselves as only they are the cause of their karma. But the enlightened souls, the jnanis, the wise people, they understand because they have got a purified intellect. So these people, they consider themselves as neither the doer nor the enjoyer of their karmas. Ever detached from the fruits of what they do, they are not bound in the karmic reaction. Because they are not the doer, so why they will face the reaction of karmas? They are not the enjoyer, so why they will face the reactions of the karmas? This adhyay then explains why people differ in their motives and their karmas. According to the 3 modes of prakriti, it is sattva, rajotamo. It describes the kinds of knowledge, jnana. Jnana can be of 3 types, sattva, rajotamo. You will understand what exactly it means. Then 3 types of karmas. Karma can also be of sattva, rajotamo. Then the categories of performances. And then it offers the same analysis for the intellect. Buddhi can be sattva, rajotamo. Resolve, that means the dhruti, the firmness of intellect is dhruti. The dhruti can be sattva, rajotamo. Happiness, sukha, can be sattva, rajotamo. Then the adhyay goes on to paint a picture of those who have attained perfection in their spiritual life and are situated in the position of God realization. It adds that even those perfected yogis find completion in their realization by engaging in bhakti. Bhakti is a must. Whether you follow any path for attaining Paramatma, bhakti, devotion is a must. Thus, the secret of Supreme Lord can only be known through loving devotion. That is what we will understand from this adhyay. Then Shri Krishna will remind Arjuna that the God dwells in the heart of all living beings. Sarvasya aham prasanna Vishnu. That he will remind to Arjuna again and directs their wandering according to their karmas. The souls keep moving in from this life to that life depending upon their karmas. If we remember Paramatma, the God, the Almighty, and dedicate all our karmas to Him, taking shelter of Him, we become His Parayana and making Him as our supreme goal, then by His grace, we will overcome all the obstacles and difficulties in attaining Him. But if motivated by pride, ego, we act according to our own whims and fancies, we will not attain success. Finally, Shri Krishna reveals that the most confidential knowledge is to abandon all varieties of religiosity. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam praja. That slok we will study in this adhyay and surrender to God. Mamekam sharanam praja. However, this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita should not be given to those who are not austere, who are not devoted, because they will misinterpret. If they don't understand the proper meaning of these shlokas, they will misinterpret and will misuse this half knowledge irresponsibly to abandon some karmas which they are supposed to do. But if we explain this confidential knowledge of Bhagavad Gita after doing our own manan chintan contemplation to the qualified souls who are devoted, it is the greatest act of love and is very, very pleasing to Lord Krishna. Shri Krishna will declare this in this adhyay. Arjuna then informs to Shri Krishna that his illusion is now dispelled. Nashto mohasvir labdha. He is ready to act as instructed. Nashto mohasvir labdha. Tat prasadan maya chita. Stitosmi gata sandeha. Karishye vachanan tava. As you have instructed me, I will act according to your instructions. And then in the end, Sanjay, who has been narrating all this dialogue to his king Dhritarashtra, he remarks at the end of this adhyay how amazed and astounded he is on hearing this divine conversation between Lord Krishna and Arjuna. His hairs stand on the end, romanchit, in ecstasy, as he recalls the sacred dialogue and remembers the stupendous cosmic Vishwarupa of Paramatma which he saw. He ends with a profound announcement that victory will always be on the side of God. Victory will always be on the side of Shri Krishna and his pure devotee, that is Arjuna. Yatra Yogeshwara Krishno, Yatra Partho Dhanardaraha, Tatra Shri Vijayo Bhutir, Dhruva Nitir Matirmo. You make this announcement at the end of this adhyay, which is incidentally also the end of Bhagavad Gita. So, the goodness, supremacy, opulence will be on that side where Lord Krishna and Arjuna are there. Because the darkness of falsehood will always be vanquished by the delight of absolute truth. And Bhagavan Shri Krishna is absolute truth. So the victory will be on his side, and this absolute truth will vanquish the darkness of falsehood, which is the side of Kauravas. So this is the quick summary of Adhyay, what we are going to start. With this quick summary of Adhyay, we will now start going into details of this wonderful Adhyay, shlok by shlok. To get the supreme knowledge from Yogeshwar Bhagavan Shri Krishna. First shloka. Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha. Atha Ashtadashodhyayaha. Arjuna Vacho. Sannyasasya Mahabaho. Tattvamichchami Veditum. Tyagasya Hrishikesha. Prathakeshi Nishudana. Sannyasasya. Sannyasasya. Sannyasa is renunciation. To give up. Sannyasasya of the renunciation. Mahabaho. Now here Arjuna is calling Shri Krishna as Mahabaho. In different shlokas, Arjuna is being called as Mahabaho by Lord Shri Krishna. Here, Arjuna is calling Shri Krishna as Mahabaho. Tattvam, the truth, Tattva. Ichhami, I wish. Veditum, Veditum is to understand. Tyagas of renunciation. Rishikesh, calling for Lord Shri Krishna. Pruthak, Pruthak means differently, separately. Keshi Nishudana, the killer of Keshi demon. That means Lord Shri Krishna. So Arjuna said, O mighty arm Krishna, Mahabaho, I wish to understand the nature of sannyas. Sannyas is the renunciation of actions, karma. And tyag, the renunciation of desire for the fruits of the karma, karma phala. Rishikesh, I also wish to know the distinction between these two. What is sannyas and what is tyag? Because both mean to abandon. Then what is the difference? Why there are two different words used for the same word abandon? One is sannyas, another is tyag. Now we'll understand from this adhyay that sannyas means renunciation of karma and tyag means renunciation of karma phala. So Arjuna is requesting in the beginning of this chapter, this adhyay, please Lord Krishna explain to me the exact difference between these two, sannyas and tyag. What is the difference? In Adhyay 17, if you remember, Arjuna, after understanding the theme of Sattvic Shraddha, Shraddha Tere Vibhaga Yoga, 17 was Shraddha Tere Vibhaga, and in that Adhyay, we have learned different types of Shraddhas. What is Sattvic Shraddha? What is Rajasic Shraddha? What is Tamasic Shraddha? So while describing Sattvic Shraddha, it was said in the end of 17th Adhyay that Ashraddhaya Hudandattan tapastaptang kratanchayat asadityachyate partha nacha tat pretya no iha. Without Shraddha, no yajna, no dana, no tapa can attract the grace of God. Shraddha is a must. Deep faith in God is a must. So this was announced in the end of 17th Adhyay. Now he is humbly seeking, Arjuna is humbly requesting to know the precise benefits of and the exact difference between sannyas and tyag. We know that God realization being the aim of Arjuna, for him, yajna, dana, tapa, sannyas, tyag, these are the things which one needs to understand clearly. Because his ultimate aim is God realization. And these are all the steps for God realization. Yajna, dana, tapa, sannyas, tyag. These are the proper means to achieve his highest objective of attaining the Supreme Lord. Also, Arjuna's interest was not only to understand these principles, but also to follow and integrate them in his life. As Pujya Swami says, Gita padhe padhaye aur jivan mein laye. So Arjuna wants to bring it in his jivan. He wants to understand this principle and then follow this in his life. He does not only want to understand. So likewise, we should also understand that Bhagavad Gita is not only for reading, it is for bringing in the life. Arjuna wants to understand so that he can bring all this principle in his life. Having understood Gita, we should also make some efforts to bring it in our life. So he is asking, for these reasons, Arjuna is asking precise and conclusive advice from Lord Shri Krishna. And the gracious, all-knowing God, Sarvajnani God, is the ideal authority to enlighten Arjuna, the ardent seeker of moksha, to satisfy his curiosity. Who could be better than Lord Shri Krishna himself to answer to the questions of Arjuna? It is to be understood that tyag and sannyas are not for everybody. Tomorrow everybody on the street will say, I want to take sannyas, I want to do tyagi, I want to become tyagi. That is not possible. According to Shastras, observance of 4 ashramas is necessary. These are brahmacharya, grahastha, vanaprastha and sannyas. One has to qualify to live through these ashramas. Those successful in brahmacharya can enter into grahastha. Those who are successful in grahastha, they can enter into vanaprastha. And those who are successful in vanaprastha, they only can enter into sannyas. So this sequence has to be followed. As to become an eminent scientist, for example, somebody wants to become a Shastrajna, scientist. Excellence in academics is a must. A 10th pass guy cannot become a scientist. He has to qualify himself, no? Do a lot of research studies, gain PhD in his subject and all that. Similarly, excellence in these ashramas is necessary to be eligible for God realization through Tyaga and Sannyas. Arjuna addresses Shri Krishna in this shloka as Keshi Nishudana. Keshi Nishudana means the killer of demon Keshi. Madhusudana, killer of demon Madhu. Keshi Nishudana, killer of demon Keshu. So these are the names of Lord Shri Krishna. Now in the divine avatar on earth, Lord Shri Krishna had killed a furious and violent demon called Keshi, who had taken the form of a mad horse and created havoc in Vrindavan. Doubt in our mind, in human mind, is also like an untamed horse. Our dimag bhi pagal ghode jaisa hai. The thoughts in our mind are also like that mad horse that runs wild in our mind and destroys the garden of devotion. Bad thoughts, they destroyed the garden of devotion in our mind. Arjuna, he wants to know, just as you slayed that Keshi demon, please slay the demon of doubts in my mind. So in Gita, wherever words have been used, they have got a perfect meaning why they have been used. Keshi Nishudana, doubt in mind is also like demon Keshu. So Nishudana, remove it. I want to kill it. His question is penetrating. He wishes to know the nature of sannyas, which means renunciation of karmas, renunciation of actions. And he also wishes to know the nature of tyaga, which means renunciation of desires for enjoying the fruits of karma phala. Further, he uses the word prathak, meaning difference. He wishes to understand the distinction between these two terms, sannyas and tyaga. Arjuna also refers to Shri Krishna as Rishikesh, meaning master of senses. Arjuna's goal is to accomplish the greatest conquest, which is to subdue the mind and senses. Unless you subdue your mind and senses, you cannot become either a sannyasi or tyagi or even a great devotee. So it is this conquest that can bestow perfect peace in your mind, in your antakaran. And Supreme Lord Shri Krishna, as the master of senses, Rishikesh, himself embodies in the state of perfection. That's why his name is Rishikesh. Rishikesh senses. Ish is the Lord of senses, Rishikesh. The topic of sannyas and tyag had been explained, as you know, in Gita, in the previous adhyas also. This is not first time tyag and sannyas are being discussed. Shri Krishna had spoken about sannyas in 15th adhyay, in 5th adhyay first. 5th adhyay, in one shloka, Paramatma had said, Sarva karmani manasa sanyasya aste sukham vashi navadvare pure dehi naiva kurvanna karayan. So sannyas there. Then in 9th adhyay also, there is a reference, Shubha shubhale revam mokshase karma bandhanehi sannyasa yoga yuktatma vimukto mamu paishasi. Similarly about tyag, Paramatma has said in 4th adhyay, Tyaktva karma phala sangan, Tyaktva means to tyag. Tyaktva karma phala sangan nityatrupto nirashrayah karmanyabhya pravrittovi naiva kinchit karoti saha. Then again in 12th adhyay, Atha idadapyashaktosi kartum madhyogamaashritah sarva karma phala tyagan tadah kuryatatmavan. So these two terminologies have been used previously in earlier 17 adhyayas. This is the 18th adhyay. But this is not the first time that these terminologies have been used here. But now here, Shri Krishna explains this sannyas and tyag from another angle. The same truth permits itself to be presented from a variety of perspectives. The same concept can be explained in different words, in different perspectives. And each perspective provides its own unique appeal. For example, various actions of garden leaves, differing impression on the viewer's mind. Different leaves if you see in the garden, there is a different impression. While the entire garden creates yet another impression. The trees are in garden. leaves on the tree, they are giving some impression about garden. But the whole garden, if you see it together, it gives another impression. Bhagavad Gita is very much like this. Each adhyay is designed as a particular yoga, while the 18th adhyay is considered as the synopsis, summary of all 17 adhyayas. In this adhyay, Shri Krishna briefly summarizes the perennial principles and eternal truth that were presented in the previous 17 adhyayas and establishes the collective conclusion of all of them. So this is a summary of entire Bhagavad Gita, this adhyay. After discussing the topics of renunciation and detachment, he goes on to explain the nature of three gunas, sattva, raja, tamo, and how they affect people's natural propensities and then for work. Their tendencies for work. How do they work under the influence of these three gunas? He reiterates that the modes of goodness is the only mode worthy of cultivation. Sattva guna is something which is to be followed. Sri Krishna Bhagavan will then conclude that bhakti or exclusively devotion to the Supreme Lord is the paramount duty and its attainment is the ultimate goal of human life. Moving on to second sloka, Shri Bhagavan Vacha. Now, Bhagavan will reply to Arjuna's question. Sannyasasya Mahabaho, Tattvam Ichchami Veditam, Tyagasaccha Hrishikesha, Prathak Keshi Nishudanam. Shri Bhagavan Vacha. Shri Krishna Bhagavan replies, Kamyanam karunanyasam sannyasam kavayo viduhu sarva karma phalatyagan prahustyagam vichakshanaha. Shri Krishna Bhagavan says, giving up actions motivated by desire. These actions which are motivated by action are called kamya karma, kamyanam. So kamya karma are those karmas which are motivated by some desire for karma phala. So Paramatma says, giving up actions, karma, motivated by desire is what the wise understand as sannyas. Relinquishing the fruits of all actions, relinquishing, that means the karma phala, is what the learned people, jnanis, declare as Tyaga. Now what is kamya karma? All expectations of good life, all expectations of prosperity, position, power, honor, learning, success of prajani, all these in this life and attainment of even Swarga, for the enjoyment of all good things and experiences, it amounts to kamya karma. The desire to attain Swarga is also a kamya karma. If you are worshipping God because you want to attain Swarga, that is also a kamya karma. Bhagavad Gita says, don't look at Swarga, try to attain me, then you will not get again entangled in this cycle of birth and death. Swarga is a very low objective. After learning Gita, we understand this principle, that people going to Swarga have to again come back here. We have seen that. The sages, the rishis say that every action performed with these intentions are kamya karma, wherein there is some hidden desire. Yajna and dana performed with the intention of reward are also kamya karma. They are sattvic karma, but they are also kamya karma. The acid test of kamya karma is that the motivation factor. What is the motivation behind doing that sattvic karma, whether it is yajna, dana, tapa, charity, whatever? Sannyas is only attained when the seeds of desire have been crushed. When there is no desire, then only sannyas can happen. Then no desire sprouts. And no motive exists behind action. No desire, no motive. That is sannyas. Only body acts like a robot. But the mind is always glued to the God. Tyaga is abandonment of all fruits of karmas, karma phalas. It must be difficult in the beginning. It is rather difficult in the beginning to practice this, to perform all actions without desire. Without desire, how can you perform something? There has to be some desire to do something, no? So initially it may be difficult. Therefore, surrendering fruits of all actions to God with sincerity and to own and use no gains thereof selfishly is Tyaga. No kartura bhiman, no bhaktutva. That is Tyaga. Without Tyaga, no sannyas is possible. Tyaga has to be done, even to become a sannyasi. The word used here is kavya. Kavyaha. Kavyaha means learned, wise people. Shri Krishna states that the learned people consider sannyas as a renunciation of karma. Those who renounce karma, work, action for material enjoyment and enter the renounced order are called karma sannyasi. They continue to do the same nitya karma, daily karma for maintenance of body that everybody has to do, whether it is sannyasi or tyagi or ordinary people like us. For body maintenance, we have to do the karma. But they renounce the kamya karma, work related to acquisition of wealth, progeny, prestige, power, status, and so on. Such work, such karmas bind the soul further in the wheel of karma and lead to repeated rebirths in the sansara of birth and death. So they give up all kamya karma. They do karma only for body maintenance. No other karma they want to do. Because they know that every karma, even if it is sattvic karma, it is going to put me in this cycle of birth and death again and again. Vichakshana, another word used here is vichakshana. Vichakshana are wise people. Shri Krishna states that the wise people lay emphasis on Tyaga, meaning internal renunciation. Not external, internal renunciation first. This implies not relinquishing the prescribed Vedic duties, rather renouncing the desire for enjoying their fruits. So they don't advise, Vichakshanas, they don't advise you give the karma, you give the desire for karma phala. Thus the attitude of giving up attachment to the rewards of action, that is karma, is Tyaga. While the attitude of giving up the karma work is sannyas. Both Tyaga and sannyas seem plausible and reasonable options to pursue for enlightenment. Of these two courses of action, which Sri Krishna Bhagavan will recommend, he provides more clarity on this topic in the coming shlokas. What we should follow. Vichakshana say this, some other scholars say this, but what is Lord Krishna's verdict on this? What is his opinion on this? That Paramatma will explain in the few forthcoming shlokas. Shlok number 3. Tyajandoshavadityeke karma prahurmanishinaha yajnadantapah karma natyajyamiti cha pare. Paramatma says, some learned people declare all kinds of actions, all kinds of karmas should be given up. Tyajandoshavadityeke karma prahurmanishinaha. People, they declare that all karmas are dosh. All karmas have some or the other defect. So they should be given up entirely. No karma. No bajega bas, no bajegi bansuri, whatever we say. No rahega bas, no bajegi bansuri. So karma hi nahi karo na. Because karma is dosh. So this is what some scholars say. While some other maintain that acts of sacrifice, yajna, charity, dana, and penance, tapa should never be abandoned. Yajnanardapa karma na tyajyamiti cha pare. Apare means other people. Some other learned people say that yajnanardapa, this karma should never be given up, should never be relinquished. Now this shloka mainly contains the views of Sankhya principle and the Mimamsa principle. There are two schools of thought. Sankhya school of thought and the Mimamsa school of thought. The Sankhya school of thought holds the view that all rituals, including yajna, dana, tapa, should be relinquished because they involve violence, such as animal sacrifice. In those days, animal sacrifice was common. Now we don't do that. Or even if not animal sacrifice, there will be some pandit vad, some discussion, debate. Should this be done or should that be done and all that. So some pros and cons of everything and huge debate on everything. Pandit vad. Forcing certain motivated expenditure due to the customs or performing everything as a mechanical performance of those rituals. On the other hand, the view of Mimamsa school of thought is that yajna, dana, tapa must be performed because they are sacred duties of all and should be performed with devotion. Mimamsa school of thought strongly believes in dharma, karma and phala. So to recapitulate, the Sankhya school of thought are in favor of discarding the mundane life of as quickly as possible. They opine that all actions should be abandoned because they are motivated by desire, which promotes further transmigration in the cycle of birth and death. They contend that all works are subject to inherent defects. No karma is without defect. For example, you want to perform a yajna. Okay. It's a good karma, sattvic karma, performing yajna. But for performing yajna, you light a fire. With the noble cause of performing yajna, you light a fire. There is always a possibility that when you light the fire, the insects get voluntarily burned in that fire. You don't want to kill the insects moving in the air. But when you burn the fire, some insects may get killed. Hence, they recommend the path of avoiding all actions, all karmas, except for those which are required for sustenance, maintenance of the body. And Mimamsa school of thought, they declare that prescribed Vedic activities, yajna tapa, should never be given up. They contend that wherever there are two contradictory instructions of Vedas, if a specific one is more prominent, it should overcome the general instruction. The specific instruction should overcome the general instruction. What does it mean? For example, Vedas, they instruct us, ma hinsat sarva bhutani. That means don't commit violence towards any living being. किसी के बारे में हिंसा मत करो. Don't commit violence towards any living entity. So this is the general principle of Vedas. This is a general instruction. It is possible that in performing that fire sacrifice yajna, some creatures may get killed in the fire unintentionally. Unintentionally. You don't want to kill, but to get killed unintentionally. But the Mimamsa school of thought, the followers of Mimamsa principle, Mimamsa philosophy, they contain that specific instructions of performing yajna prevails over the general instructions of not committing violence against any living entity. Specific is what? Specific is performance of yajna. So that should prevail. That should overcome, that should take prominence on the general instructions of not committing violence against any living entity. So it must be followed even if the conflict, if conflicts with the general instructions of not committing violence. Keeping this in mind, the Mimamsaks, that means the people who believe in this Mimamsa school of thought, they say we must never give up beneficial activities such as yajna, dana, tapa. So this is the difference between these two schools of thought. Now, what is Paramatma's verdict that we have not understood so far? Paramatma is only telling what these people say and what other people say. What is his opinion? Fourth sloka. Nishchayam shruname tatra tyage bharat sattama tyago hi purusha vyagrat trividas samprakirtitaha. Paramatma says, Shrunume, now hear from me. Arjuna, now hear from me my conclusion on this subject of sannyasa and tyaga, of renunciation. Arjuna, O tiger amongst men, Purusha Vyagra. Vyagra is tiger, Purusha is men. So, O tiger among men, for renunciation has been declared to be of three types, three kinds. Nishchayam shrume tatra tyage bharatasattama tyago hi Purusha Vyagra trividha samprakirtitaha. Samprakirtitaha has been stated. Trividha is three types. So, abandonment of or renunciation is not a simple matter. To give up something is not simple, because its proper observance in life, it is necessary to appreciate its full implication in the life. You can't just decide, I give up this, I don't do this. Its implication on our life has to be studied first, to be understood first, clearly. And the objective here, behind our purpose of doing yajna and tapa, is spiritual realization. Very high objective we have. So it is therefore to be undertaken with very careful resolve. We need to attain the desired result of spiritual realization. It also includes the acceptance of seeker, the devotee, by a guru. Whether you do sannyasi or you become tyagi, your guru should accept it, no? Without proper past karmas, education and training, abandonment is not possible. Your previous karmas, your education until now in this life, and your training, what you have got so far, if it is not commensurate, abandonment is not possible. Now, renunciation is important because it is the basis of higher life. कुछ खोने के लिए कुछ पाने के लिए कुछ खोना पड़ता है ना. If you want to attain spiritual realization, you have to give up something. So renunciation is important because it is the basis of higher life. It is only by giving up lower desires that we can cultivate higher aspirations. Material desires are lower level, lower desire. Unless you give up those, you cannot get higher aspirations. Likewise, by giving up lower actions, that we can dedicate ourselves to higher duties and activities and walk the path of enlightenment. However, in the previous shloka, Shri Krishna revealed that there are differing views on the understanding of what renunciation is. Some people say this, some people say the other. Having mentioned the two primary opposing schools of thoughts in the previous shlokas, Shri Krishna Bhagavan now reveals his opinion, which of course is the final verdict on this subject of sannyasa and tyaga. He says that he will explain upon the subject by dividing renunciation into three categories. So what are these three categories of renunciation, which Paramatma will explain in shlok number 7, 8 and 9. Sri Krishna Bhagavan addresses Arjuna as Purusha Vyagra, meaning tiger amongst men. Because renunciation is only for brave-hearted people. So you have to be a tiger amongst men to follow that principle of sannyasa or tyaga. Any ordinary person cannot do it. Sant Kabir has says, तीर तलवार से जो लड़ाई सो शूरवीर नहीं न होया, माया तेजी भक्ति करे शूर कहवई सोया. That means one is not brave by virtue of fighting with swords and arrows. That person is truly brave who renounces maya and engages in bhakti. So he is really the brave man, not the one who is showing his bravery with swords and arrows. You should be able to renounce maya and engage in bhakti. Then you are a shurveer. Continuing this with slok 5. Yajnadana karma natyajyam karyamev tat yajnodanam tapaschaivo pavanani manishinam. Paramatma says, action based on sacrifice, that means yajna, charity, dan and penance, that means tapa, should never be abandoned. Now this is the verdict of Lord Krishna, not any vichakshara or any jnani. This is the verdict of Lord Krishna, that actions, that means karma, based on yajna, dana, tapa, should never be abandoned. They must certainly be performed. Indeed, the acts of yajna, dana, tapa are purifying even for those who are wise. This is Paramatma's verdict. That those who are wise, manishinam, that means wise people, they also get purified by performance of yajna, dana, tapa. So this should never be abandoned. This should never be given up. Now, when you become pavanani, that means your heart becomes pure. What does it mean? It means there is no desire in your heart. The heart which has a lot of material desire is not a pure heart. It is a polluted heart. The heart is pure when there are no desires. And the heart has become soul in that case. Because soul is desireless. Soul does not do anything and it has no desires also. So the heart becomes soul when there are no desires in the heart. And this is what we have to achieve. All the actions which are performed in the form of, say, helping people or servicing people or sacrifice for the benefits of others without motive, they go a long way to purify the heart. So these are the ways we should learn from Gita, how to purify our heart. When these acts are performed with devotion to the God, the heart gets purified even more easily. You are performing this and with strong devotion in the God in your mind. Then your heart gets purified more easily. yajna, dana, tapa must be performed. Therefore, even if one of these is performed properly, yajna, dana or tapa, all three, probably one may not be able to execute all them properly. Even if one of them is done properly, good results are bound to follow. Unsought. You don't desire, but the results will follow. Here, Shri Krishna pronounces his verdict that we should never renounce actions which elevate us and are beneficial for humankind. Such actions, if is performed in proper consciousness, do not bind us. Instead of, they help us grow spiritually. Consider, for example, a caterpillar. वो कीड़ा होता है ना, caterpillar. In order to transform itself, it weaves a cocoon for its evolution and encages itself in it. It builds a house around it and gets encaged in that cocoon. Once it becomes a butterfly in that cocoon, inside that cocoon, it breaks open that cocoon and soars in the sky as a butterfly. That dirty looking caterpillar has now become a wonderful butterfly, soar in the sky. Our position in the world is exactly similar to that caterpillar. Like the ugly caterpillar, we are presently attached to the world and benefit, we are bereft rather. We don't have noble qualities in us. We are attached to the material world. As a part of our self-preparation and self-education, we need to perform karmas that bring about the inner transformation that we desire. And the best way to do is yajna, dana, tapa are the acts that help our spiritual evolution and growth. At times, it may seem that they are binding also. Yajna and tapa are also binding karmas. But they are like the caterpillar cocoon. They are developing us in the butterfly form. They are like the caterpillar cocoon, yajna and tapa. They melt our impurities. They beautify us from within and effectively help us to break the shackles of material life, which is our cocoon. As Shri Krishna instructs in this shloka that such auspicious activities, yajna and tapa, must never be abandoned. He now qualifies his statement by revealing the proper attitude with which this karma should be performed. Yajna and tapa, with what attitude this should be performed, that Shri Krishna Bhagavan will tell in the next shlokas. But one verdict is clear, this should never be given up. Because they elevate us spiritually, don't give up this. Shlok number 6. Etanyapita karmani sangam tyaktva phalani cha kartavyani me partha nishchitam matamuttamam. These actions, yajna and tapa, must be performed without attachment and expectations of rewards. So no attachment and no expectation of rewards. Paramatma says, this is my definite and supreme verdict. Nishchitam matamuttama. This is nishchit, definite, and matamuttama, the supreme verdict. Acts of sacrifice, that means yajna, charity, dana, tyaga, tapa, should be done with the sentiment of devotion to the Supreme Lord and without any expectation for return or reward and without any attachment. This results in chitta shuddhi. Whatever you do without any expectation, it purifies your heart. Even if you don't want, it will purify automatically. That is the ultimate result of your that karma, which you are doing without any expectation of return reward and without any attachment. Only you are doing it for the devotion to the God. So you automatically attain chitta shuddhi, purification of your heart, your antakaran. Because chitta shuddhi is not possible without detachment. And detached performance of these threefold act is a best way to attain that chitta shuddhi. You perform yajna and tapa, but with these two qualifying statements, they should be done with the devotion to the Lord and without expectation of return reward and without attachment. So then chitta shuddhi will automatically happen. And without chitta shuddhi, no spiritual enlightenment is possible. In 4th Adhyaya, Paramatma said, Nahi jnanena sadrusham pavitrame vidyate tat swayam yoga samsiddhya kalena atmani vindati. And when our chitta has become purified, when chitta shuddhi has happened, it brings magical change in us. We start wondering, is there any bad thing in the world? We start looking world as a beautiful place. Before Chitta Shuddhi, when our Chitta itself was not purified, we were seeing the world and everything we were pointing out something mistake here and there. वो ऐसा है, ये ऐसा है, all that. Finding faults with others. But when Chitta Shuddhi happens, we start looking the world in a new perspective. Everything start looking beautiful to us. There is no bad person in the world. That is what we start thinking. A small story about one saint who has attained this Chitta Shuddhi. How do they behave in their day-to-day life? A person who has attained the Chitta Shuddhi. One day, some thieves, they broke into a saint's hut at the night. There was nothing in that hut, in that house of saint, except one blanket, which the saint had covered himself with. It was cold night. The saint began to cry because thieves had broken into his house and there was nothing to steal. He was not crying out of fear. He was feeling bad that the thieves have come to my house and I have nothing to offer them except this blanket. So this was a very painful situation for him. Hearing his sobs, the thieves asked, "Brother, why do you cry? Are you scared?" The saint replied, "You have come for the first time in my life. You have given me this opportunity and you have graced by coming to my house. People generally don't go to saints to steal anything. They go to the emperors. But you have come here to steal from me. You have made me an emperor. Such good fortune that you have made me emperor by coming to me. But then my eyes are full of tears because I could not control my sobs. Because there is nothing in this house. If you had informed me a couple of days in advance that you are coming here, then I would have arranged something for you. If I had 2-3 days time at my disposal, I would have borrowed, asked for help and collected something so that you could steal from here. But you came without informing. But right now, I have this blanket. Only this blanket is what I have, which I have woven myself. You can take this. You can take this blanket with you. And look, please don't say no. I am requesting you to take this blanket. Please don't say no. If you refuse, my heart will break. It will get deeply hurt." The thieves got frightened. What this man is? They could not understand anything. They had never met such a person in their life. They had been stealing for the whole of their life, but had come across such a person for the first time. For the first time, there was shame in their eyes. Are kahan aa gaye hum? And for the first time, they bowed down to someone and they could not refuse him. When he was insisting that you take my blanket also, that was the only thing he had. Why to hurt him by saying no? So they took the blanket. And although it was difficult to take it because he had nothing else, the saint had nothing else. When the blanket was removed, it became evident that the saint did not have anything else to wear. The blanket was the only covering that was covering him. The clothes and that itself was bedding. So bedding, clothes, everything was that blanket only. But the saint said, "Do not worry about me. Take it. Don't worry about me. I'm used to living like this." Then you have come on a cold night. Who leaves the house when it is so cold? You have shown the bravery of leaving your house in the cold night. So please take this blanket. You see, even the dogs are lying hiding in the cold nights. But you have come here in the cold night also. Take it. And when you come next time, inform me beforehand that you are coming so that I can arrange something for you. The thieves felt very strange, caught in that situation. So they immediately got up and they got out of hut, taking that blanket with them. While they were leaving, the saint shouted, saying that, "Listen, at least close the door and thank me." So they were surprised. Very weird man this fellow is. The saint had led and he had said with such authority that close the door and say thanks to me, that they thanked him and closed the door and ran away. The saint stood at the window watching the thieves leave. A few days later, the thieves were caught by the police. There was a trial in the court, and the blanket was also caught. And it was a well-known blanket. People in that community, they knew this blanket is belonging to that saint. It was the blanket of that famous yogi. So everybody knew. The magistrate, he immediately recognized that it was the saint's blanket. So he was very angry. He said, so you have stolen from that yogi's place also? Then the saint was called. The magistrate said, if this yogi says that it is his blanket and you have stolen from him, then we don't need any other proof. One statement from this great yogi is greater than the statement of 1,000 other people. Then I will give the harshest of punishment. The thieves were panicking and trembling. When the saint came to the court, he said to the magistrate, the saint said to the magistrate, these people are not thieves. They are very good people. They are not thieves. They are very good people. I had presented them the blanket and they had thanked me also. And when they thanked me, there is no question of stealing. I gave them, they thanked me, matter closes there. The question of stealing, they did not steal from me. I gave them. And they said thank to me. Not only that, they are such good people that while leaving, they even close the door. Thank me and close the door. So they are not bad people, they are very good people. The magistrate then let go of the thieves because the yogi said, don't harass these people, they are lovely people, good people, well-meaning people. The thieves fell at the feet of that yogi and said, please initiate us, please make us your disciple. The thieves became yogis afterwards. And later the saint, he laughed heartily. He said, this blanket was presented to you so you could get into sainthood. You could not have gotten away with this blanket. I have worn it myself, singing prayers for the Lord. So all the divinity in my heart is there in this blanket. I have worn it myself. The saint said, Jini Jini Binire Chadariya. This blanket has been finely woven with my sentiments. He said, it has been woven with prayers. That is why I wore while meditating. This blanket I was wearing when I am meditating. So entire strength of meditation is there in this blanket. It is painted with the color of samadhi, meditation, the fragrance of divinity. You could not escape it. You have taken this blanket, you cannot escape this characteristic of this blanket. I was sure this blanket will bring you back here. That day you came here as thieves, today you have come here as my disciples, as my shishya. Because there is no bad person in the world. So this was the conviction he had. That even thieves can become a yogi. This was the conviction. Because his chitta was shuddha. He did not think anything is bad in the world. It is love that brings changes in us. Changes us for the better. Maintaining a loving atmosphere in our heart at all times makes us a better human beings. But coming back to this shloka, if all this consciousness has not been attained, then these three acts of yajna tapa should verily be performed as a matter of duty, kartavya karma, without desire for reward. A mother abandons her selfish joy to perform her duty to her kids, to her infant, to her offspring. She offers milk in her breast to her baby and nourishes the baby without expecting anything in return, isn't it? She does not lose anything by giving to the child, rather she fulfills her motherhood by giving the milk from her breast to the child. Similarly, a cow grazes grass in the field all the day, but yields the milk in the udder to her calf. Does she drink the milk herself? She gives it to the calf. The cow does not become any less by performing her duty. On the other hand, people hold it in great respect. These activities are viewed as sacred because they are performed selflessly. Shri Krishna Bhagavan states in this shloka that the wise should perform auspicious and beneficial acts in the same attitude of selflessness. He now explains the three kinds of renunciation in the next three shlokas. Shlok number 7. Niyatasya tu sannyasa karmano nopapadyate mohattasya parityagas tamasah parikirtitaha. Tamasah parikirtitaha. Prescribed duties should never be renounced. Niyatasya sannyasa karmano nopapadyate mohattasya parityagas tamasah parikirtitaha. Such diluted renunciation is said to be in the mode of ignorance. Renouncing prohibited and unrighteous karma is proper. That you should give. Renouncing desire for the reward of karma phala, is also proper. But renouncing the prescribed duties is never proper. Prescribed duties help purify the mind and help it elevate from tamoguna to rajoguna to sattva-guna. Abandoning them is erroneous display of our foolishness if we abandon these good activities. Because they are taking us from our tamoguna to rajasi-guna to sattva-guna ultimately. So to abandon them is foolish thing. Sri Krishna states that giving up prescribed duties in the name of renunciation is said to be in mode of ignorance. If you give up this, it is a tamasi tyaga, mode of ignorance. Having come to this world, we all have some obligatory duties to perform. Fulfilling our duties. Why should we fulfill our duties? Because fulfilling our duties, they help many qualities in an individual, such as we start understanding our responsibility, we understand what is discipline of mind, what is discipline of senses, tolerance of pain, tolerance of hardships. Abandoning them out of ignorance leads to degradation of soul. We don't acquire any of this. No discipline, no control of mind and senses. So we degrade our soul by abandoning such activities. These obligatory duties vary according to one's level of consciousness. For an ordinary person, acts such as earning wealth, taking care of family, even taking bath, eating, and other daily activities are prescribed duties. We have to do this, we do this. And as one gets elevated, these obligatory duties also change. For elevated soul, yajna dana tapa, they become the prescribed duties. So what is prescribed duty? That changes based on our level of consciousness. A person with low level of consciousness, he thinks he is performing his duty by earning money and feeding his family. But a person who has elevated his soul, he thinks that is job everybody does. I should do something better than that, no? So his level of consciousness shows that performing yajna tapa is my kartavya karma, and that too without attachment, without expectation of return reward. Niyatasya sannyasa karmano nopapadyate mohattasya parityagas tamasah parikirtitaha. But out of delusion, if somebody leaves these activities, then it is a tamasi tyaga. Tyaga which is under the influence of ignorance, mode of ignorance. Now what is rajasi tyaga? Dukkhamittev yat karma kaya klesha bhayat tyajet sakrutvarad santyagan naiva tyaga phalam labhet. Paramatma says to give up prescribed duties because they are troublesome or cause body discomfort. Kaya klesha. Kaya is body, klesha is pain to the body, discomfort to the body. So to give up prescribed duties because they are troublesome or they cause pain, body discomfort is the renunciation in the mode of passion. That means that is a rajasi tyaga. Such renunciation is never beneficial or it does not elevate you spiritually. Dukkhamiti yat karma kaya klesha bhayat tyajet sakrutva rasan tyaga naiva tyaga phalam labhet. There is no law of such tyaga. To advance in life does not mean abandoning our responsibilities. Instead, it entails increasing them. People who are new in the path of spirituality, the novice spiritualist, they never understand this truth. Wishing to avoid pain and taking an escapist attitude, they make spiritual aspirations as a pretext for relinquishing their obligatory duties. मैं अभी अध्यात्म में लगा हूं, ये काम मेरे को मत बताओ. And they want to give up that, taking the cover as if they are great spiritualists. However, life is never meant to be without burdens. Advanced sadhaks are not those who are undisturbed because they do nothing. On the contrary, they retain their peace despite upholding a huge burden placed on their shoulders. They perform their prescribed duties and they also walk on the path of spirituality. Sri Krishna declares in this shloka that giving up duties because they are troublesome is renunciation in the mode of passion. That is a Rajasi Tyaga and did not help you. From the very beginning in Bhagavad Gita is a call for action, karma. Arjuna finds his duty unpleasant and he very bothersome to kill his near ones and dear ones, and as a result wishes to run away from the battlefield. Shri Krishna calls this ignorance and weakness. This is your ignorance and your weakness. Klabhya Masmava Partha Naitatvi Pabade, second adhyay. So he encourages Arjuna to continue doing his duty, even though it may be unpleasant, while simultaneously bringing about an internal transformation from within. For this purpose, he enlightens Arjuna with spiritual knowledge and help develop eyes of wisdom. Having heard Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna does not change his profession. From Kshatriya, he does not become a Brahmin or a Vaishya or Shudra. He remains Kshatriya only. He does not change his ashram, his profession, but changes the consciousness. Changes the consciousness he brings to bear upon his activities. Previously, his motive behind work was to secure the kingdom of Hastinapur so that they can earn the livelihood. Duryodhana had refused them to give anything. So what is the most means for livelihood? So we should win our kingdom. So that was the basic intention when the war started. And it was for his comfort and glory, winning that kingdom of Hastinapur. Later, after listening to the Bhagavad Gita, he continues to do his work, but with an act of devotion to the God. The act is same, fighting the war, but the purpose has changed. Earlier purpose was to win over the kingdom of Hastinapur for getting comfort and glory. Now the purpose is act of devotion to the God and performance of prescribed duty, kartavya karma. So your purpose defines what kind of karma you are doing. Same karma can become sattvic, same karma can become tamasi also. It depends on your motive behind doing that karma. Slok number 9. Karyamitteva yat karma niyatam kriyate juna sangam tyaktva phalanchaiva satyaga satviko mataha. So having discussed tamasi tyag and rajasi tyag, Paramatma also says what is sattvic tyag. When actions are undertaken in response to duty, kartavya karma, and one relinquishes attachment to any reward, Arjuna, it is considered renunciation in the mode of goodness. That means this is the sattvic tyag. Shri Krishna now describes the superior kind of renunciation, superior kind of tyag, where we continue to perform our obligatory duties, but give up the attachment. Give up the attachment to the karma phala, fruits of action. He describes this as the highest kind of tyag, highest kind of renunciation, which is situated in the mode of goodness, sattvic tyag. Renunciation is definitely necessary for spiritual attainment. But the problem that people's understanding of renunciation is very shallow. They don't understand what is tyag. We have seen this in the beginning of this adhyay. Even Vichakshanas, very learned people, they have some contradictory opinion on what is renunciation. And they look upon it as an external abandonment of work. Modern day people, they think tyag means to give us something externally. Such renunciation leads to hypocrisy. If you take tyag as relinquishing, giving up something externally, while internally you remain the same, then this is hypocrisy. In which, while externally donning the robes of renunciate, one internally contemplates upon the objects of senses. Your moha maya has not gone and you are wearing bhagwa clothes to show that you are a sannyasi. There are many sadhus in India who come under this category. They left the world with the noble intention of God realization, but because the mind was not yet detached from the objects of senses, their renunciation did not bestow the desired results, desired fruits. Consequently, they found their karmas did not lead them to higher spiritual life at all. Sadhu bande raho 10-12 saal, no progress in spirituality. The defect was in their sequence. They strove first for external renunciation. They thought by wearing bhagwa clothes and putting a tilak on head and leaving their house, they become a sannyasi or they become a tyagi. So they first thought that this true for the external renunciation, and later they wanted to have internal detachment. The instruction in this shloka by Lord Krishna is to reverse this sequence. First, develop the internal detachment and then renounce externally. Make your minds and thoughts reach first. And then external renunciation becomes easier. Your mind has not changed, your thoughts have not changed, and you want to become sannyasi by just putting on clothes. So your mind and your thoughts should become rich first in your thinking. We can learn this basic principle in our life, that external things are less important than the internal evolvement. If we analyze our own mind and our own thoughts which come and go out of our mind, we can understand this principle. Our thoughts can bring shine in our personality, and our thoughts can bring shine in our behavior as well, in our conduct as well. Again, a small story to highlight this point. How internal thinking, mind and thoughts can change your personality. External things are not important. There was a lady, Maria. Maria was a young adult living with her mother in a small apartment in New York. She was an average woman in every sense average. Neither particularly beautiful, nor particularly ugly, neither short nor tall, neither a genius nor very dumb. She worked as a secretary in a big company, and her life was pretty much boring. No one at work paid any attention to Maria. And those who did, they considered Maria to be as boring as her life. Everybody found her boring. Nobody wanted to even speak to her. One morning, on her way to the work, Maria saw a cute little hat shop. The hat shop had opened down the street on the way to her office. Out of curiosity, she walked inside that hat shop. There were already a couple of people in the shop. A little girl with her mother had come to pick up the one hat. And there was another customer who was trying hats on his head. Maria also tried a few hats on her head until she found the one she really liked. So she tried it on. It just fit fine for her, very right for her. And she felt perfect on her head, comfortable and light. And it looked really nice also on her head. The first to notice was that little girl in the shop who said to her mother, "Mummy, look how pretty that woman looks with that hat on her head." The mother said to Maria, "Madam, I must say that hat looks very wonderful on you." The second buyer also came to look. "Madam, you look lovely with that hat on you." Maria blushed and smiled at them. Her heart swelled with excitement. For the first time, she heard this kind of appreciation in her life. She went to the mirror to look at herself. She saw herself in the mirror, and for the first time in her adult life, she actually liked what she saw in the mirror. Her smile widening. She went to the counter and bought that hat. She thanked the shop owner, and as she walked outside, a new world revealed itself to her. So she was walking in the clouds. She had never seen the world or the world's colors or flowers in this way. the scent of fresh air in this way. But today, the surroundings felt fragrant and refreshing to her. The sound of cars and people sounded like some harmonious melody around her. She walked as if drifting on a cloud, with a song in her heart. When she passed by the coffee shop, she walked by every morning on that street. One of the one person, a young handsome man, he called her out. Hey darling, you are looking so good. Are you new here? Can I buy a coffee for you? She only smiled shyly and said thank you, and continued walking, floating on the cloud on which she is walking. When she got to the office building, the doorman, he opened the door and wished her, good morning, madam. Never before had he even noticed her. Today he is saying, good morning, madam. The people in the elevator asked her the floor she needed to go and pressed the button for her. Unique experience for her. The people at the office, as if seeing her for the first time, they flattered her on how lovely she looked today. The manager asked her out to go for lunch and talk about how she feels at work. So manager also started giving respect to her. When this magical work day was over, she decided to take a cab home instead of going by bus. Every day she used to go by bus. Today she was feeling so happy that she said, I will go by cab. As soon as she put her hand up to stop the taxi, 2 taxis stopped. She took the first cab and sat in the back seat. She kept reflecting on the miraculous day she had and how her life had changed, all thanks to that great hat. When she got home, his mummy opened the door. The sight of Maria took her breath away. She said, Maria, she said with surprise, how beautiful you look. Your eyes are all lit up like when you were a very little girl. Maria said, yes, mother. It's all thanks to my new hat. I had most marvelous day today because of this hat on my head. Her mother, her face was suddenly tense. She said, Maria, what hat? I don't see any hat on your head. Maria panicked. She touched her head and realized that the hat that had changed her life was not there on her head. She did not remember taking it off in the cab or at lunch or at the office. So where did the hat go? Then she thought back, where did the hat have gone? How she noticed it for the first time? Where did she put it on? Paying for it at the cashier's counter, and then she suddenly remembered painfully that yes, she had put it down on the counter of that cashier to take the purse to pay that money, and she had forgotten that right there at the counter of cashier. So it was no more on his head at all. Then she walked out on the street, hatless yet glowing. Hatless yet glowing. It was not the hat that freed Maria, it was the quality of her thoughts. The reason for shine in her eyes, the glowing face and the magical day was not that hat, but the magic of her own positive thoughts. Our thoughts can enslave us into a horrible bondage or can liberate us towards the sweet freedom to be, to do, or have anything we wish for. We create our destiny by our everyday thoughts. Our wishes, what attracts us and what repels us, our likes and our dislikes is all depending on the thoughts. Positive thoughts can change your personality. Not only internal but outward personality also, like it changed Maria's personality. The day was very, very boring for many people for many days. She suddenly became very attractive because positive thoughts in her mind. So continuing the discussion further, slok number 10. Nadveshta kushalang karma kushale nanushajyate tyagi sattva samavishto medhavi chinna samshayaha. Shri Krishna Bhagavan says, those who neither avoid disagreeable unpleasant work or seek work because it is agreeable, it is good, pleasant, are the persons of true renunciation. They are endowed with the quality of the mode of goodness, that is sattvic, and have no doubts about the nature of work. People who are situated in the sattvic renunciation, those who do sattvic tyaga, are not miserable in disagreeable circumstances, nor do they get attached to the situations that are agreeable to them. They remain equipoised in both situations, whether the situation is agreeable or disagreeable. They simply do their duty under all circumstances, without feeling elated when the going is good or feeling dejected when the life becomes tough. They are not like a dry leaf that is tossed hither and there with every passing breeze. On the contrary, they are like the reeds, the grass in the sea, which greatly negotiates every rising and falling wave in the sea, while retaining their equanimity and without succumbing to anger, greed, envy, or attachment. They watch the waves of events in their life rising and falling around them. They remain undisturbed. Bal Gangadhar Tilak. He was a great scholar of Bhagavad Gita and a famous Karma Yogi. He wrote a book, Gita Rahasya, emphasizing that Gita is nothing but a Karma Yoga only. Gita is Karma Yoga. Before Mahatma Gandhi, he came on the scene. Bal Gangadhar Tilak was at the forefront of our freedom fight, freedom struggle in India. He was asked what position he would choose if India became independent. He would like to become Prime Minister or Foreign Minister. Tilak replied, I have always desired to write a book on differential calculus. So I will write that book on differential calculus. Forget about Prime Minister and Foreign Minister. I will fulfill that. Once police arrested Tilak for creating unrest, he asked his friend to find out the provisions under which he was arrested and inform him in the prison. He was already jailed. When the friend reached him after an hour, Tilak was fast asleep in the jail. It did not disturb him at all. Another time, he was writing an editorial for his newspaper Kesari in his office in the veranda of Keshriwada, which is there in Pune. When a villager, he came to meet him and he said, Dada, we have some problem in our village and I want your help. Tilak said, let me finish this editorial. I have to send it for printing and then I will speak to you and understand your problem. And he continued writing. The villager said, no problem, Dada. My return bus to village is in the evening only and I have ample of time. I will wait. After 5 minutes, a gentleman came from inside the house of Mr. Tilak and he informed Tilak, Dada, all preparations have been done and now all are waiting for you. This villager, he thought the lunch is ready and all are waiting for Tilak to start the lunch. Feeling little embarrassed that he came at a wrong time, he said to Tilak, Dada, please have your lunch. I am in no hurry. I will wait. Tilak had just finished his editorial and he said to that villager, no, they are not waiting for lunch. In fact, my elder son, he died this morning due to plague. And all preparations have been done to take him to Vaikuntha crematorium. I will go to Vaikuntha Smashan Bhumi for cremation of my son. But let me know what is your problem in your village. I will visit your village next week and we together can solve the problem. Listening to this, the villager was speechless. He was in tears. He was unable to believe that a man talking to him so calmly is having his son's dead body in his house and this man is continuing writing editorial and he's trying to understand my problem. Strange. These instances, they reveal how Tilak retained his composure despite being in the midst of very disturbing situations. Ordinary person would collapse. He was able to perform his actions because his internal emotional composer was firm. Had he been emotionally distressed, he would not have been able to sleep in the prison or not concentrate on his work when his son died. So this is what the internal strength of our mind can play magic with. Continuing with slok 11. Nahi devrata ashakyam tyaktum karmanyasheshatah yastu karma phalatyagi satyagi ityavidiyate. Paramatma says, for embodied beings, it is impossible to give up karma entirely. You can't give up all karma. Because those who relinquish the fruits of their actions are said to be truly renounced. You cannot give karma, but the people who give up karma phala, they are truly the renounced people. They are tyagi. It may be contended that better than renunciation of fruits of karma, simply renounce all karmas itself. For then there will be no distraction from our meditation and contemplation. Give up all karma. Shri Krishna rejects this as a possible option by stating that the state of complete inactivity is impossible for the embodied beings. You can't give up all karmas. No being in this world can ever live without work, without karma. Even sheer survival, he has to do some karma. Without work, it is not possible. In third adhyay, we know the shloka, Naikaschit kshanapi jatu deshtatya karma krut karyate yavasha karma sarva prakriti jair gunaihi. Therefore, what is required is abandonment of the fruits of karma, karma phala. But this is only possible when the ego has been conquered and all steady state of mind has been and intellect has been attained. Such attainment without sadhana is not possible. Sadhana requires sincere, steady and committed efforts. The right way to follow the spiritual code of conduct. The basic functions for the maintenance of body, such as eating, sleeping, bathing, or other daily tasks, how to be performed by everybody. Poor or rich, everybody performs these tasks, these karmas. Besides standing, sitting, thinking, walking, talking, and so on. These are all the activities which cannot be avoided. If we understand renunciation to be external abandonment of work, then no one can ever become truly a renunciate. Here Shri Krishna states that if one can give up attachment to the fruits of karma, karma phala, it is considered perfect renunciation. So don't give up the karma, give up karma phala, desire for karma phala. Continue slok 12. Anishtam mishrancha trividah karmana phalam bhavatyatyaginan pretya natu sannyasinam kvachit. The threefold fruits of action. Three types of karma phala can happen. One is pleasant, ishta, anishta, unpleasant, and mixed, mishra. They accrue even after death to those who are attached to the personal reward of their karma. If you have a desire in your mind of karma phala, these three karma phala can happen. They can accrue. Pleasant, unpleasant, mixed. Ishta, anishta, and mishra. But for those who renounce the fruits of their actions, those who have relinquished their karma phala itself, desire for karma phala itself, there are no such results. Neither here in this world nor hereafter. That means after death. It is ego consciousness and the desire, integral to all our motivated actions, which bind the non-renouncers to the threefold fruits of their action: ishta, anishta, and mishra. So three kinds of rewards that soul reaps after death. One, ishtam, or pleasant experiences in the celestial abodes, Swargaloka. Anishtam, or unpleasant experience in the hellish abode. And mishram, or mixed experiences in the human form on the earth planet. So those who perform virtuous acts are rewarded the celestial world, Swargaloka. Those who perform unrighteous actions are given birth in the lower world role realms, and those who perform the mixture of both, they come back to this human world. We learn this principle in 14th Adhyaya also. ऊर्ध्वं गच्छन्ति सत्त्वस्था मध्ये तिष्ठन्ति राजसाः जगन्यगुणवृत्तिस्था अधो गच्छन्ति तामसाः. But this principle applies only when the actions are performed with a desire for rewards. The Tyagi or the Sannyasi, these renouncers are not affected by the results or fruits of their actions after death, because they never perform their motivated actions. They perform their actions as a kartavya karma without attachment, without any expectation of return reward. And whatever obligatory and daily actions they perform, they did that by surrendering all the fruits of such actions to the Lord. They did not keep anything with them. In this shloka, the three types of results, good, bad and mixed, are for people who have not renounced the fruits of karma phala. Who have not renounced the karma phala, the desire for karma phala, the fruits of action. So people who are not tyagis, for them this shloka is applicable. The central idea is that good, bad or mixed, whatever actions performed in this world, their results cannot be avoided even after death. The karma phala is of three types. One is sanchit, second is prarabdha, and third is kriyaman. All actions performed in the previous lives or in the past are sanchit. Sanchit is deposit. Prarabdha is the effect of sanchit karmas. Whatever we are is our prarabdha. Kriyaman karmas are what we daily perform in this life. They result in some immediate reaction and get vanquished, making the balance sheet of such karmas empty. Kriyaman is instantly paid and forgot. When such fruitive desire is renounced and work is done merely as a duty to the God, then no such results accrue from the actions. No sanchit, no prarabdha, no kriyaman. All zeros. So where is the question of bondage then? A similar rule exists in our material world also. When a person kills another, it is considered as a murder, which is a crime, of course, and that can result even in the sentence of death. However, if the government declares that someone is notorious murderer or a terrorist or a thief who is wanted dead or alive, then killing such a person is not considered as an offense. It's not a crime in the eyes of law also. In fact, such encounter specialists are rewarded for killing and are respected as national heroes. Similarly, when we give up personal motive in our action, then these threefold fruits of actions, they do not accrue. Last book of today, 13th. Panchaitani mahabahu karanani nibodhame sankhe krutante proktani siddhaye sarva karmanam. Arjuna, now learn from me. Nibodhame, learn from me about five factors. Five factors that have been mentioned for the accomplishment of all karmas. All karmas happen because of these five factors in the doctrine of Sankhya, Sankhya Krutante, which explains how to stop the reaction of our karmas. If we know the five factors which are responsible for our karma, so which are those five factors that Sri Krishna will explain in the next shloka. But on knowing that karma can be performed without attachment to the fruits of karma, attachment to the karma phala, a natural question arises. What constitutes karma? What is karma? Sri Krishna announces to Arjuna that he is going to address this question now, as this knowledge will help develop detachment from the karma phala, results of action. Simultaneously, Sri Krishna clarifies that the description of five limbs of actions is not a new analysis, but what has previously been described in Sankhya philosophy. Sankhya Krutante Praktani. This has been already studied in Sankhya Yoga. Sankhya refers to the system of philosophy established by Maharshi Kapil. was avatar of God only, Maharishi Kapil, and appeared on the earth as a child of Kardam Rishi and Devahuti. The Sankhya philosophy he propounded is based upon the system of analytical rationality, some rational thinking. What is Sankhya that we'll discuss in the next session? It develops knowledge about the self. Sankhya is self. Sankhya Yogi, they discard the karma, saying that all karmas are binding. So let us not bother about karma. Let us focus on self. Our ultimate objective is to reunite this self with Paramatma. Atma, Paramatma ka milan is the main objective of our life. So why to bother about karma then? So it develops about the self through the analysis of elements within the body and the world as well. It also ascertains the nature of cause and effect by an analysis of the elements of all our karmas. What are those 5 elements that we'll discuss in the next session? But Paramatma says there are 5 elements which are responsible for any karma happening. So if a farmer says that I am growing the grains in my field, is it right? There are many factors. The seed quality matters. The soil fertility matters. The rain should happen at the right time. Excess rains are not allowed. Typhoon should not take place. So if somebody claims that I am doing this karma, he is forgetting that there are many factors responsible for that karma to get rectified. What are those 5 factors that we'll discuss in the next session? Thank you so much for the patient listening. Jai Shri Krishna. Now the forum is open for all of you to raise questions. Thank you so much again. Jai Shri Krishna.
Thank you, Vaidya ji, for your enlightening presentation and your profound insights. The challenge is to practice and apply the deep learning you have imparted. An announcement. Vivechan Satra link has been shared with you. Please share it with all your near and dear ones. For the question and answer session, those of you who have questions may raise your hand and switch on your camera so that we can spotlight you.
Today there will not be many questions. The cricket match final is going on. So attendance is also very thin. And questions, I don't think there are many questions today. So if there are any questions, we can discuss in the next
Santosh ji is
session.
there.
We can discuss in the next session
Santosh ji.
also. If people want to watch the cricket match, it is okay, no problem.
Jai Shri Krishna Bhaiya. Thank you
Yes,
very
yes.
much for so beautiful explanations. To two
Okay.
things actually. You said soul does not have desires. You mentioned that the soul is desireless. Then who
Yes.
is that having a desires actually? That is my first question. And the
Huh.
second is that yajna the dana tapas danam. The dana tapas is something easy to understand and conceive. Yajna is still, is it putting fire and then chanting and then how can a common man do that yajna on a regular basis?
See, yajna, there are 2 connotations in Bhagavad Gita. One yajna, as you said, is about burning the fire and offering some offerings in that yajna. The traditional ritual yajna that we see. Bhagavad Gita, it describes yajna as in another perspective, yajna is our kartavya karma. Performance of kartavya karma is a yajna. A son taking care of his parents without expectation is performing a yajna. A man taking care of his family in a good way is performing a yajna. So performance of kartavya karma is also a yajna. Now, all the shlokas wherein this word yajna has come, we can examine those shlokas considering these 2 meanings of yajna. Yajna karma na tyacha viticha pare. Yajna means don't leave your kartavya karma. Similarly, yajna is that karma which purifies you. So your kartavya karma also purifies you. As the ritual of performing yajna, wherein you burn the fire and make some offerings at yajna, then you invite God, Lord Vishnu, because Lord Vishnu is yajna itself. That is also yajna. So every slok when yajna word has come in Bhagavad Gita, you read this as the ritual yajna as well as the prescribed duty yajna. Then the meaning will be more clear to you. Your first question was what?
You also
So,
mentioned the soul does not have desire.
yeah, soul does not have desire. The thing is, the Prakriti has given us the body, mind, intellect. So it is the intellect and the mind which instructs the senses. senses are under the control of mind. And senses are always active in the material world. Eyes are there to see, ears are there to hear, to listen, tongue is there to speak or to eat. So each sense has a prescribed sense object. The pair is something which we cannot disturb. So senses, so long as our senses are active, and why senses are active? Because they have got the life force. And what is the life force? Life force is our soul. If the soul is not there in our body, can the senses act? No. So the meaning that soul is having is desireless is that soul does not desire these things. Soul is only offering the life force to these senses. That's why in further slokas we will understand this also, that because it offers the life force to these senses, also to the mind and to intellect. Because without the life force, the mind also becomes inactive. A dead body cannot perform any karma. No, it needs a life force. The life force is our soul. So since soul provides us the life force, and then it starts believing that I am the karta, I am the doer, then it gets entangled. If you are a karta, then face the consequences of your karma. If you are not karta, then you don't have to face. The jnanis, manishina, vichakshanas, they know this principle very well. That all the karmas are happening under the instructions of Prakriti, nature. We are a non-doer. If you are a non-doer, then okay, you don't get bondaged. But if you have got a firm belief that this body is mine, this intellect is mine, these senses are mine, I desire to do this I, it makes us entangled with all the karmas that we do. And the soul, providing the life force to all this, Sharir, Indriya, Man, Buddhi, it also starts getting entangled. That's why the soul has to move from life to life, acquiring new bodies. Because it starts believing that he is the karta. And then, if you are the karta, then your balance sheet gets spoiled with the karmas that are performed by the body, mind, intellect. That's why Jnanis always say that don't claim the doership. If you claim the doership, you will have to face the consequences. That's why in Gita we always learn that kartrutva abhiman should be relinquished. Bhoktrutva, the sense of enjoyment, should be relinquished. And the sense of doership should also be relinquished. Then you are free. Then you are free. But so long as you are claiming the doership and also the sense of bhoktrutva, the sense of enjoyment of that particular meeting of sense and sense objects, without relinquishing the desire for the karma phala, then you have to face the music. Every karma will follow us up till we get moksha.
Thank you, sir. Bhaiya, so beautifully explained. Thank you. Yeah.
Sir, there are no more hands up.
Yeah, I
Raise
can
hands.
understand. So reserve your questions for the next session and we can discuss it in the next session. All the best.
Yes, sir.
Let's hope that India
Many
wins this
thanks.
World Cup, this championship.
Many thanks, Vikas Bhaiya, for your eloquent explanation of the scriptural text. Even your stories were so inspiring and interesting. Thank you. We
Thank
would
you.
like to thank each and every one of you Geeta Sadhaks for attending this evening's session. See you all in another enlightening session next week. On behalf of Geeta Pariwar, sincere thanks to the technical team for their relentless efforts in making the session a great success. There will be the chanting of the Hanuman Chalisa after the prayer, so please wait for it. Let's again offer our prayers in the lotus feet of the Lord. We call upon Gokula Jagandha Rao. Gokula Rao, an undergraduate farmer from Vishakhapatnam, likes learning new things and doing service. He joined Geeta Pariwar in July 2024 and serves as group coordinator, technical assistant. Welcome, Gokula ji.
Thank you, Didi. Thank you very much for this opportunity. योगेशं सच्चिदानन्दौ वासुदेवौ रजप्रियं धर्मसंस्थापकं वीरं कृष्णौ वन्दे जगद्गुरुं श्रीकृष्णौ वन्दे जगद्गुरुं. जय श्री कृष्ण दीदी.
Jai Shri Krishna. Thank you, Gokula ji, for the melodious prayer. Jai Shri Krishna.
श्री गुरु चरण सरोज रज निज मनु मुकुरु सुधारी बरनउ रघुबर विमल जसु जोदायक फलचारी बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके सुमिरौ पवन कुमार बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहि हरहु कलेस विकार। जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर जय कपीसति लोक उजागर रामदूत अतुलित बल धामा अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी कुमति निवार सुमति के संगी कंचन बरन विराज सुबेसा कानन कुंडल कुंचित केसा हाथ वज्र और ध्वजा विराजे कांधे मूज जनेऊ साजे शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन तेज प्रताप महाजगवंदन विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर राम काज करिबे को आतुर प्रभु चरित्र सुनिबे को रसिया राम लखन सीता मन बसिया सूक्ष्म रूप धरि सियहि दिखावा विकट रूप धरि लंक जरावा भीम रूप धरि असुर संहारे रामचंद्र के काज संवारे लाय सजीवन लखन जियाए श्री रघुबीर हरषि उर लाए रघुपति कीन्ही बहुत बड़ाई तुम मम प्रिय भरतहि सम भाई सहस बदन तुम रोजस गावे अस कहि श्रीपति कंठ लगावे सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीसा नारद सारद सहित अहिसा जम कुबेर दिक्पाल जहाते कवि कोविद कहि सकै कहाते तुम उपकार सुग्रीवहि कीन्हा राम मिलाय राजपद दीन्हा तुम्हरो मंत्र विभीषण माना लंकेश्वर भय सब जग जाना जुग सहस्र जो जन पर भानु लील्योताहि मधुर फल जानू प्रभु मुद्रिका मेलि मुख माहि जलधि लांघि गए अचरज नाही दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते सुगम अनुग्रह तुम्हरे तेते राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे होतन आज्ञा बिनु पैसारे सब सुख लहै तुम्हारी सरना तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना आपन तेज संहारो आपे तीनों लोक हांकते कांपे भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे महावीर जब नाम सुनावे नासै रोग हरै सब पीरा जपत निरंतर हनुमत वीरा संकट ते हनुमान छुड़ावे मन क्रम वचन ध्यान जो लावे सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा तिनके काज सकल तुम साजा और मनोरथ जो कोई लावे सोई अमित जीवन फल पावे चारों जुग परताप तुम्हारा है प्रसिद्ध जगत उजियारा साधु संत के तुम रखवारे असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे अष्ट सिद्धि नौ निधि के दाता असवर दीन जानकी माता राम रसायन तुम्हारे पासा सदा रहो रघुपति के दासा तुम्हारे भजन राम को पावे जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावे अंत काल रघुबरपुर जाई जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाई और देवता चित्तन धरई हनुमत से सर्व सुख करई संकट कटे मिटे सब पीरा जो सुमिरे हनुमत बलबीरा जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई कृपा करहु गुरुदेव की नाई जो सत बार पाठ कर कोई छूट ही बंदी महासुख होई जो यह पढ़े हनुमान चालीसा होय सिद्धि साखी गौरीसा तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेरा की जय नाथ हृदय महडेरा पवन तनय संकट हरन मंगल मूर्ति रूप राम लखन सीता सहित हृदय बसहु सुर भूप सियावर रामचंद्र की जय पवन सुत हनुमान की जय उमापति महादेव की जय।